Wasabi, what's going on? We're just about to get started here. Just getting my pages all available. My studio's quite the mess right now. I got things all over the place. And we're just about to get started. Good evening, good morning, or even good afternoon, depending where you are around the world. What's up, Flapjack? Good to see you. And we're just about to go live. Yes. Oh, I am finally pretty much 100% for the most part. My voice is pretty much at its fullest. I'd say like I still have some of my voice missing, but that's okay. At least it's to the point where I don't have to struggle for breath in order to speak. But welcome, guys. Welcome to the channel. If you're unfamiliar with who I am Chris Mizo. We talk about PC and tech. Of course, there has been some large announcements that have been made with Intel. You have the 250K, you have the 270K, and unfortunately, there's no 290K. I know some of you guys were certainly looking forward to something like a 290K, something a bit more on the more edgier side, I should say. What's up, Hamilza? I'll just call you Ham. What's up, Ham? What's up, Halu? What's up, guys? Welcome into the chat. And also, I keep forgetting, I want to set up my phone up here on TikTok, but it doesn't seem like it does too great from another angle. I gotta set like another one up there. But anyway, so FanBam guys, there is going to be a 250K, 270K, and 290K. Waffle Skater, great to see you. Glad to see you in action. I just want to tell you guys that they are going to be ending up released on the 26th of March for anybody that is interested in getting any of these new Intel processors. Now, if you're curious about the performance upgrade, from what it seems like, the uplift is not going to be a crazy amount, but it's up to, at the maximum, from what I'm seeing, is about like 15%. I could see maybe even up to 20%, depending if it's capable of doing so. I believe it's only about like under 900 megahertz from what I'm seeing. But for those who are looking for a bit more refresh and a bit more power out the series, this is certainly going to be the last of it. But yes, I do agree, Wasabi, that the new Intel processors look interesting. Certainly excited to put it inside of the Gigabyte Z890 Ors Master, which we will be doing by the end of this month. And you know what that means, guys? That means we will go live to Micro Center, and it's probably going to be one of those weird days of the week. I might do it in the middle of the afternoon because I'm trying to make sure to guarantee this processor. It's probably not going to have a hard time selling. Maybe I could wait until the weekend, depending on what everybody is thinking. But it's going to be part of this whole Gigabyte build. That's going to be part of Project Oris. If you guys are not familiar with Project Oris is going to contain a Z890 Oris Master. It's also going to have a 5070 Ti along with a 270K we're going to end up grabbing for this build. Also, we are going to have a bit more details on the Project Oris as soon as I can finalize and release the details, which we are certainly excited for, and see how well the system does handle it. Kilobyte, what's up? Great to see you. So Ham is the Gigabyte B850 Ors Elite Wi-Fi 6E, good for 7800 XTD, and the answer is absolutely. If you are going to be using it for gaming, that's actually quite a good mix. Toyo, what's up? Welcome into the stream. Thank you for coming in. I appreciate all of you. Yes, happy Wednesday. Hopefully everybody's been having a great week so far. How is everybody feeling out there? Let me know how you feel. Hopefully this week has been a bit more expected on the PC side. At least for the positive notes, it seems that the whole PC hardware space, especially when it comes to the RAM side, is looking a bit more positive. It seems like the pricing hasn't been going too much into the negative side, where it's going to be like $500 or $600 for a 32 gigabyte kit. It could definitely be worse, but at least it's been holding steadily about at the 399 range from what it seems. And this is for 6000 megahertz at CL32 about. So Toyo says, it's my first build. I'm building my first PC. It has 7700X and a ARGB 850 and 32 gigabytes of RAM. Those are great specifications to have. Now, what type of games do you also build that you play on your PC, and what type of display do you plan on using? Now, for anybody that questions the Intel B8 580 specifically, it's a great GPU to have. of course, it doesn't get as much of a reputation as it does when it comes to NVIDIA or AMD. It's not one of the big dogs, but we do want to see more competition when it comes to Intel. We would love to see it. Now, it's going to be a great GPU for anybody out there that is looking to play even games such as Fortnite. You'll be able to handle those type of games. You're playing games at 1080p. The B580 will be certainly able to handle that. Now, feel free to ask your question depending on the type of display that you're looking for as well. That also certainly does matter. Now, we're going to switch over here to the Micro Center screen because I certainly want to share with you guys. I know a lot of you are, I've been trying to really scout out, just try to be able to pick it up early to try to get this, until specifically the 270K. We're trying to get our hands on it. But unfortunately, Micro Center, we're unable to get our hands on it just quite yet. Because as I see right now, they haven't officially posted it. Let's put it in, 270K. And you can certainly expect more kits to come out with it. So we can see that they have the 285K for sale. Another great processor for anybody that is looking for more beefier, for more beef, especially if you're looking for not just for the gaming aspect, but you are looking also when it comes to, say, consecration, graphic design. So this would honestly be a great option for anybody out there that is looking for that versatility. Now, of course, you can do the same thing with AMD. But the difference when it comes to Intel specifically, and all you guys out there that certainly does have Intel, I can certainly tell you, what's up, music? For some reason, your name's not popping up here on the social side, but I see you. Go to in China, you'll get cheaper RAM. China's making more. Yeah, I've actually heard of that. I'm going to try to refresh this real quick to just try to pull some guys in here. So LHG, what's going on? Hey, I got a ASUS ROG Maximus Z890 Hero. I also have a Gigabyte 5090 gaming overclock, Ultra 9 285K, 8 terabytes of storage, and a 256 gigabyte DDR5. How big of a power supply do you think I need to get? At the minimum, 1200 watts. That is the minimum. You can go for 1000 watts. If you do, that's great. It'll still function. But if you want to guarantee that your PC has that longevity, you don't want to put 100% stress on that power supply. So 1200 watts would certainly do, and you have to also consider the additions in case if you do, say, choose to increase your memory or increase your storage, or maybe you want to throw 3 RGB fans in there. So you have to add those into the part of the equation. So it's certainly good to get at the minimum of 1200 watts. So are the bundles in Micro Center 7800X3D was a good deal with CL36? Is that a good combination when it comes to games? Yes, it is, to answer it right off, to straight answer that. But, and is it true that the 7800X3D CPU is overheating and you need to, yes. So it doesn't only contain or have issues with the 9800X3D. In fact, it's all the X3Ds. Every X3D you should certainly worry about. Now, the ones that are less worrisome are the ones that are going to be the 9950X3D. And the main reason why is because it's able to handle a bit more wattage. The TDP can go up to 170 watts on a 9950X3D. Anything else below that, it's going to take 120 watts or under, which is relatively low when it comes to a processor. And you don't want that to go overboard. So you want to really watch the SoC voltage. You don't want it to go over 1.2 volts. And they're still fine tuning it. It's to the point where it's almost like a perfect car where it's running, you're running a straight quarter mile in, say, 10 seconds. And you want to continue running that quarter mile. And you have to be able to make the adjustments just perfect in order for it to work correctly. Now, of course, if you over-tune it to the point, you can end up, say, blowing a piston. So it's a similar way when it comes to this processor. So you want to make sure that when you do end up getting, say, a 7800X3D, just update the BIOS. Really simple. It's honestly not hard to do. And many of the motherboards now, they all have BIOS flashback. So you can even flash a processor without the, you don't even actually need the processor installed, in fact, excuse me. You don't need the processor installed. All you need really is the power supply and the motherboard, and you're pretty much good to go. In fact, LSG has experience on it. He can certainly tell you that he's done it before, and the people I'm sure that has come into this channel, I'm sure they could share their experience of BIOS flashback, as it's actually really simple, really easy to follow. For example, if you have a ASUS ROG, say X870E Hero, you want to do a BIOS flashback. Once you have that PC pretty much put together for the most part, and say you don't have the CPU just quite installed, you're waiting on it, and all you have to do is just really have the PC pretty much in the off mode. You have your USB, you plug it in, and all you have to do is hold down the BIOS flashback button. It'll flash a couple times, and you wait until it completely stops. Once it does, then the BIOS is now flashed into the system. Now, don't panic once you first start it up. When you first start up the system, it may seem like it's not starting. It might like turn on for 2 seconds and shut off. Don't panic. That's normal. In fact, that's just it picking up the memory code that it has. And once it does install into the system, then it'll take you pretty much into the BIOS from there. So, yes. Thank you, LSG. He explained it super just like how it is. It's really simple. It's not as hard. It's not rocket science. It's honestly one of the easiest things you could do. So Walmart Ninja Production says, I just switched from Windows to Linux, Nabara and Fedora. What's your opinion on gaming on Linux? So far for me, it's been a lot of troubleshooting. Welcome to Linux. Absolutely welcome to Linux. That is the world of it. That is what you will be spending your majority of the time doing. Anybody that tells you that gaming on Linux is definitely better, it can be. It can be a great experience. Now, when you do mess with Linux, it does take time because you're messing with different systems. Now, you also have different kernels, and you do have also different features that you have to take advantage of Linux, such as the best thing that they have is Proton, because Proton is certainly part of the engine that certainly helps Linux be able to run some of your favorite games. Now, the only downside of Linux is if you're big into, say you're a big game, big into first-person shooters, like multiplayers, and you play something like Battlefield 6 or Call of Duty Black Ops 7 or whatever type of title that you like to play, they don't allow anti-cheats. So if you are using it, or they don't really have an anti-cheat for Linux just quite yet, and because of that, you're unable to play those games. So a lot of people that actually have Linux, even though they say that they use Linux, they also use Windows. If they tell you that they don't, they're more than likely lying, because they also have Windows on the system. They just don't like to go into it. But while they want to play their favorite games such as those, you have to boot into Windows. Now, of course, they have Windows simulators also on Linux as well. You can also use them, but it's just not going to be a great experience if you are going to be able to, when you game on Linux, specifically on those titles. Everything else, it can be great. It plays really well on Resident Evil, as I've shown you guys with Bazite. It also plays really well on many of your favorite titles. It has no issues, and the best part is it has less of a background process. But of course, everything that is really great about Linux, because of how you can just tell it to do something, it will do it just like that. You can shut it down, and it won't ask you to shut down any other programs before it actually shuts down. Like little tasks like that are great advantages of Linux. But of course, it can get pretty complicated when you start trying to figure out different issues, like why is it not running, say, at 1440p? You have to put in some commands just for it to work. So they do have its positives, the pros, and they do have their cons. So yeah, no problem. But yeah, that's pretty much the basis of Linux there. So if you are thinking of switching over, it's not a bad system. It's great. It's a lot of fun. I highly recommend everybody to give it a shot. If you haven't tried gaming on Linux, a lot of people are switching over to it. But speaking of which, that actually brings me up to my next point here, which Microsoft is actually interested in doing. The biggest thing that Microsoft is interested in doing right now is that they are bringing in a new feature, which is going to be the new Xbox mode. Yes, they're bringing Xbox mode to Windows. So some people may like it, some people may not. People may find it as bloat, just like I personally don't like to have more applications that I don't need from Microsoft. I'm not going to like it personally, but everybody else might prefer, say, the Xbox full screen experience. Say, if you do, that's great. It is coming, and that is on every PC. So you can choose to either keep it on your system or just completely remove it. Honestly, what would be better is if Microsoft would just kind of listen to our direction at least and come out with a dedicated OS that is strictly for just Microsoft Windows gaming. It's been so long that Microsoft has been at this. I don't know why they haven't done this. In a way, I do know why, because they want you to be able to use their other applications, but it certainly can be done. So Battlefield needs secure boot now also. It's getting crazy, and that's the big problem. That's also the other issue. You need to have TPM 2.0, and it's just going to get more crazy. The funny thing is, even though like all these games like Battlefield 6 and Black Ops 7, they required TPM 2.0, no matter what, you still are going to have hackers figure out a way to get into the system and mess with it. So it's like a temporary, I would say this is more temporary than anything. I think this is, I don't think it's one of those type of anti-cheats that's going to truly last. So they want to keep stealing your info. Yeah, who's excited for more ads from Microsoft? Are you excited to get more Xbox game ads? Are you excited for more Game Pass? Get a free trial for a month with Game Pass? Certainly expect that from Microsoft once they start releasing it. Those, you know what they'll say? They'll say to having Microsoft on PC, finally we have the full screen experience for everybody. Now, to thank everybody for being PC window gamers, we're going to give everybody a free trial for 1 month. Watch that happen, and it's going to ask you about if you're willing to accept cookies. So I can't wait to switch to a cache. Oh yeah, that would be pretty awesome if you did. Hello, experimenting with my Android phone on casting to YouTube. But YouTube, for some reason, did not want me to watch, as they tried ways around me watching you. Oh, really? What's the reason for that? That's interesting. So you tried to cast it into your display, was it? Into your monitor, or into your, say, your TV, maybe? Into one of your displays, and it wasn't allowing you? Come on, YouTube, get this straight. No wonder why people go on Twitch. Sometimes people go more on Twitch because of this very reason. It can give trouble. Now, everybody that's coming in, feel free to ask any question. This is a session where you can feel free to ask any of your questions. I will certainly answer. As you see, I do talk to the chat, obviously. So feel free to ask your questions, and I will definitely answer. But we will also take a look at Micro Center, see if there's any changes. When it comes to the RAM pricing, when it comes to SSDs, we all know when it comes to gaming in 2026, it's really expensive now. And now say you have a 2018 PC, maybe a 2017 PC, and it's pretty out of date. You're ready to upgrade, but the pricing that you're seeing now is kind of scary. You don't like to see the pricing that is currently out there. I'll show you ways around it, ways where you can certainly take advantage of, especially if you have a Micro Center near you. If you don't, that's fine. If you're in the US or in Canada, there is Newegg that does give you the options to be able to purchase from them, but also be careful of the type of bundles that they do offer. They do have some great ones. One of my favorite ones is the X870E MSI Carbon, one of the top motherboards I highly suggest for anybody to get that's looking to do a PC build. Also, they do have great bundles when it comes to RAM, and also when it comes to even AIOs. They just throw it in there as long as if you purchase, say, AMD processor. So they do offer those type of bundles. Micro Center is pretty much the same way. So Bob Arkinson says, I uploaded a preview of my Miku case project. All I need is some command strips to properly fix the case. Awesome. I can't wait to see it. You definitely got to share it. Like, once you're able to get the parts for it, one of the toughest components to get is this whole Miku parts from ASUS. I can't wait to see it come into action. I know Takuma, unfortunately, he's probably dead asleep right now. I know Takuma has a GPU that he has just sitting and waiting. I can't imagine how his room is. He has a ton of PC components. So Walmart Ninja says, I switched off all the bloatware, and the last time I tried Linux 6 years ago, it was not as good as I agree. It has improved in that aspect. That's another thing I failed to mention. Also, random thing is, why is it so hard? Because not too many people use it. Like, if you look at the statistics, like let's take a look at Steam statistics right now. Steam 2026 statistics, and you'll actually see how many people use for their hardware and software. So here, OS version, about 56% of people use Windows 11. So we're going to click into it so that way you can see a bit more details on why it's 56%. And sure, it doesn't sound like a lot. It sounds only like half the people that have PC use it. But remember, there's other Windows versions too. So this is why I want to click it. So when I click it, you can see here exactly the reason why. Because when you have Windows 11 is at 56.28. So if you look on the top, which is the most important statistic that you see here, is at 96.61%. So 96% of gamers on Steam are mostly Windows users. So only about 2.23% are actually Linux users. So you consider all the Steam decks, ASUS ROG Allies, the MSI Claw 8s, and all the different other devices that also contain it. It does count that as part of the this survey. So unfortunately, it's only 2.23% of users of Linux that actually use it when gaming. So oh no, I'm not getting all ASUS too expensive. It's gonna be a mix of Miku. Yes. No, I can agree. If you can't get all the Miku parts, that's great. That's fine. As long as if you get some of it. Just let us know what kind of components that you choose. But this is the main reason why. The main reason is because people, there's not enough people out there. There's not truly a large enough demand for Linux gaming tutorials. But I'll tell you what though, I am certainly thinking of it. I am thinking of just having another PC build on the side where it's strictly Linux, and we'll do some more tutorials on something like that. Because if people are looking for that, maybe there's more interest in it. Maybe it will start growing. Hopefully it does. I think Linux is, again, an awesome system. It has improved in the sense where you don't have to go to terminal for everything. Before, you would have to open up software with terminal. You would have to be able to download off the internet through the terminal. You weren't able to do everything that you can now, which is practically nearly like almost everything's a GUI now. So, what's up, Squeeze? When I cast, it's easier to chat on my phone. Oh, I get it. That makes sense. Yay, my favorite streamer on the West Coast. My watch schedule doesn't. Yeah, I get it. Thank you. Thank you for always tuning in. And so Linux has always been a bit easier thanks to some software like WinBoots, but in some cases it feels like a crutch before you find something more Linux native. And yeah, and that's the thing. It's like the best thing to do for anybody that is interested in, say, getting into Linux, it's to do dual boot. I said dual, whatever. What the hell is dual boot? But anyway, dual boot. You want to dual boot Linux and Windows. You want to be able to have the options to go to either one, especially if you're just experimenting with Linux. Because once you fall down the Linux hole, you may not like what you find. Some people may love it. Some people may enjoy doing the whole the whole process of typing in commands. So me and my bro use Ubuntu for that. You know, that was my first Linux OS that I messed with too. Server LAN dedicated servers, removing LAN from games. It was a mess. Yes, I agree. I mean, there is so much advantages when it comes to Linux. You know what I love is just seeing the type of services that are being used. You know what it is? Absolutely barely minimum of the OS. It's like you have so much more room. Like, for example, if you have, say, better yet, just say you have 32 gigabytes of RAM. If you have 32 gigabytes of RAM, as soon as you put it into Windows, you know a good majority, about 12 or 13 gigabytes of it's going to go dedicated to Windows. So you naturally think, hey, I'm going to upgrade it. I'm going to swap it out. I'm going to make it up to 64 gigabytes of RAM. That way I get more space that I can take advantage of. As soon as you put in that 64 gigabytes, next thing you know, it goes from using up 12 to 13 up to 22 to up to about like 25 to 26. And you're like, what the hell? What? I just added more RAM and now Windows ends up using more. That's just how it is. The beautiful thing about Linux, it doesn't do that. It will not do that. So, due to Windows updates, sometimes deciding to break the boot manager, I wouldn't recommend dual booting on the same drive. I would suggest a USB boot to get started and a separate SSD for more long-term. That's a good point, Bob. The good thing is that now I'm saying Ubuntu. The good thing is if you're using Linux, it does allow you to kind of give it a test trial before actually installing it in your system. Or better yet, you can even use something like a VirtualBox. If you use a VirtualBox, you can also test out Linux to see how you like it on there. Now, of course, you won't have all the full out features. It's going to feel like you have the full out features. I actually have a video based on that, I think, but I don't think I did. I should have did a Linux one. This time I'll do a Linux one. If you have a VirtualBox, you can have Windows install. You can install Linux into it, and then you can be able to kind of really mess around with it to see what it's like, and it'll feel just like if you're in a Linux PC. So, sup, bro? I'm a handheld gamer now, and I'm going to change my Retroid Pocket Flip 2 LPDDR4 from 8 gigabytes. That's a massive upgrade, by the way. So it's my ultimate machine on Android 13 with a Snapdragon 865 processor. You know what the crazy thing is? That they even have Windows emulators now, like when it comes to like even on Android, which is pretty wild. So you're able to take advantage of some games even on a Android device, and where it's practically just like Windows. Sweet. It's great to see you, Weenie. So I like Navarra Linux for gaming. There you go. Some people like Arch. Some people, there's so many different options. Some people like Mint. I think Ernesto's using Mint. If he's here, he'll tell you. I think he's currently on Mint. Tony, what's up? So have you seen the core? Yes. So speaking of the Intel Core, everybody who is curious, I'm going to throw out a poll out there for everybody. In fact, are you excited? Now I'm going to throw it out here real quick. And now it's really easy to vote on the poll. Now, if you don't know how to vote on it, you just simply put 1 or 2, depending on the type of option that you are choosing. So the question is going to be, let me see here. The question is going to be, are you looking forward to Intel's Arrow Lake refresh? So you can simply put yes or no. You don't put yes or no, but you just put 1 or 2. So if you're looking forward to it, let me know. Put 1 or 2. I'd love to hear your thoughts of what you think about these new Arrow Lake refresh processors. So LSG is excited. Yeah, it's pretty dope. I gotta say, Casey, I'm excited. There's a lot of handheld gamers now. It's certainly improving. Speaking of gaming wise, what's any console gamers here? If you're a console gamer, let me know. I would love to bring up a topic real quick for you console guys. So if anybody's looking, so we have quite the interest. We have quite the interest in Intel's new Arrow Lake processor. I'm excited for it. I'm just as excited as you guys. I've been constantly just typing in 270K just to hope that something pops up at Micro Center, but of course nothing is out there just quite yet. So one, just because the competition, I agree, and that's the big problem. Just I don't understand why people want a company in the downfall. Now, I get how big NVIDIA is. It's a big beast. It's even ugly, to the point where it's even questionable to currently download the latest drivers at times. But it is part of the competition, as AMD needs to really step. I don't know why. They need to come out with a 9080. They need to come out with a 9090. They need to really step it up. If they have the opportunity. This is the main reason why people don't like buying AMD GPUs, because they feel like they don't push their GPU hardware hard enough. Same thing with their software, but the software has certainly improved quite a bit, especially with AMD's Adrenalin. So I already can't run Windows 12 because I don't have a TPU. You mean the NPU? Yeah, LG decided to install Copilot on my 1800 TV. Oh, yes. Is that pretty annoying? Like that I heard that they're trying to actually there's a lot of people that who tried to remove Copilot and it did not let them. I also have an LG C1 OLED TV and I haven't checked it to see if Copilot's in there. I'm pretty sure it's in there, and if it is, I'm going to be pretty annoyed. So I still use Vita for gaming. Sorry, not killed it off. I feel like Vita was one of the greatest handhelds that existed. It was way ahead of its time. It's just an impressive device. I mean, just think about like how they designed even the touchpad in the back to kind of use like as a cursor. Like, I'm surprised more devices don't use it. I like Steam Deck's idea, like of using the little trackpads for the mouse, but as you can use it as a cursor. But I really like Vita's idea of being able to control your screen with through the back of it. So AMD is skipping the 80 for RDNA 5, which there is. I hope so. I hope you're right, John, because we need it. We do need answers from AMD. So I got the 5080 in my new build computer and the 9070 XT. How are you liking it? How are you feeling about it? So I prefer the 5080, but so let me know, why do you prefer the 5080 over the RTX? I mean the RX 9070 XT, just out of curiosity. So we're going to take a look at a couple bundles here, especially for anybody that is looking to build a PC. We have a lot of excitement for our, like, I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad that people are genuinely getting a bit more excited for Intel to actually have some answers. We need the competition. Without competition, the prices will remain high. I mean, otherwise we can't get great deals like this. We can't get a 7500 X3D, $350 with a B850. So that's pretty awesome. So it removes Notepad. That's wonderful squeeze. I'm hoping for the Panther Lake on a mini PC at a decent. A Panther Lake is one of those underrated, currently the underrated CPUs out there. If you haven't seen Panther Lake in action, it's amazing. It's practically like having the I can't compare it to the M1. It's really close to it. I feel Intel, if they keep pushing, they could seriously do some damage. I think they could do really well if they continue pushing on the path that they are. I just hope they don't fumble. If they do, I hope they recover quickly. So I'll disable the poll. So we have about 90. We have about 80. Is it 87? I can't really even see that right. I think it is 87. 87%. 87% of people are excited to see the new Arrow Lake. So, what's up, NYC? Great to see you. If only Sony didn't try to sell the 32 gigabyte proprietary memory. Yeah, the memory sticks. Remember that? Remember how we thought memory stick was going to be the next big thing, and then somehow SD cards kind of took over and won everybody, which is insane. Waffle Skater says, I heard a rumor a while back that Sony was making a new hand. It's true, they are. That is the new rumor. But the memory and storage issues plaguing the market, I agree with you guys. That's a big issue. Stop doing exclusives, Sony. This is how you're going to fail. And just like, it's almost like they're destined to do the same mistakes as they did. So what is everybody's thoughts of Sony's just doing that with their games? About how they're trying to make it back exclusive again. They changed their minds. They said, you know what? This whole thing about sharing games isn't working out for us. We're not going to share it with PC gamers anymore, even though Helldivers 2 did great. We don't want to share our exclusive games to PC gamers or to Microsoft Xbox. We don't want any of that. We want to go back exclusive. What does everybody think of that? So, considering how broke the gamers are, Intel's next CPU will be Hobo Lake. Hobo Lake. You know, speaking of which, I know this is going to be off topic, but have you guys heard about this, the Florida guy? That he ended up going into, he goes into the water, and the police found him. Apparently, they found him in the sand, and they've resuscitated this guy. And apparently, he was communicating with dolphins, and they had a leader named Geralt. Was it Geralt? I'm thinking of Witcher 3 now. Not Geralt, Gerald. So, can you imagine that? Like, you just go up, and he tells you that there's this underwater dolphin kingdom. So, because Xbox is the new PC, Yeah, it pretty much is. Expect the new Xbox that costs about $1,100 to $1,200. So all you console gamers are saying, you guys are pretty much you guys are lost in the PC gaming community. It's not even worth building a PC, but they have a real big surprise coming for them. It's going to be expensive. It's not going to be cheap. It's going to be $1,100 to $1,200 for the new system. Now, the way they're going to do it, it's almost like the nuke systems that they have, like when it comes to their gaming systems, like for PCs, like the little portable ones. I bet Xbox's design is going to be kind of similar to that. So I built a PC with the Ryzen 7800 X3D, Strix 870A gaming Wi-Fi. Should I upgrade to my 37? How do you feel about gaming on it? Are you really having issues with it? Are you not experiencing the frames that you expect out your PC? If you're not, let me know. What type of display are you using? I had one of those Chinese memory sticks adapters work. Oh, did you really? How did that work, by the way? Just out of curiosity, did it actually pan out well? I don't like that Sony never released a Gran Turismo. Yeah, that pisses me off, man. I would love for Gran Turismo to show. Can you imagine how many people would end up playing it? So personally, I think they decided they shoved way too much money into a few exclusive games that they made, and they're trying to claw back the money in the way possible. So they're reverting the games back to PS only. You know what? In a way, maybe it's a blessing in disguise. Maybe we don't want to deal with any more remasters as it is from Sony. So I heard FSR 5 will be exclusive to the new Xbox Helix. So that's interesting if that's the case. I could see that happening because the new Xbox is allegedly going to be this large APU, as we predicted like a few months ago. We heard rumblings about how it's going to be pretty much a large APU, kind of like how the M1 or M2 or any of the M series, the ARM chips, how they are. It's going to be like that, but for an Xbox. So it's just going to have pretty much everything built in, from the RAM, from the GPU, the CPU, and even possibly the storage. If they do the storage, man, Microsoft really likes to make people purchase exclusive storages for their consoles. So you can mod the memory on those 3070s to 16 gig. They've been modding all kinds of GPUs lately. It's insane how many. So my coworker said it's supposed to have 64 gigabytes of RAM in the next Xbox. Is it supposed to be true? Be a true rumor? Can't imagine how expensive Xbox with 64 gigabytes. That's the thing. Even though if it's rumored, say if it is 64 gigabytes, honestly, to me, and I think I'm pretty sure everybody else would be inclined to agree to this, that it's not going to happen. 64 gigabytes on Xbox is not going to happen. Reason being, it just doesn't make any sense. Nobody is going to be using 64 gigabytes on a Xbox. And the main reason is you're going to mainly use it for gaming. And when you are gaming on something like an Xbox, you're going to... what's better for a device such as a console is definitely more graphics power. So they're going to invest more into that. I can see more VRAM, but I don't see more RAM. Not 64 gigabytes. It wouldn't make sense. Bob Barkinson says the Chinese memory stick worked great, slightly slower than the... Hey, at least it worked. At least you didn't lose your files or anything like that. It could have been bad. If they could have come out with new consoles, I could just stick into the disc and play the games I would be interested in. Yeah, you know, the thing is, I think they're going to get away with physical media, finally. And it's been gone out of PCs for a pretty long time. I'd say like it's been gone out of PCs for probably for 10 years. I would say roughly about 10 years. And now consoles are catching up on that and saying that, you know what, physical media makes no sense. Now, I know, of course, there's some people out there that prefer holding it in their hand. But honestly, there's really no point in the physical media anymore. Because when you look at the new games, like a PlayStation 5 game, they don't even come with instructions anymore. Because back then, you could actually... The whole reason why you would purchase physical media is not just because you like the art the cover art, but you also enjoy what's inside of it. You would get maybe this dope sticker that came with it, and then you would get the instructions that also come with it, and then you would even read the BS operating manual, which nobody really cares about, on how to insert a disc, but they would actually contain information. But now when you open it up, it doesn't have anything in there, just the disc. So what's up, Mr. Rainbow? Great to see you. All Microsoft wants to do anymore is make e-waste. Yeah, it's true. Consoles are usually sticking with a shared VRAM model. So a big pull about a 16 gigabyte of VRAM rate. Yes, I can see that. That would make more, especially if it's ARM, right? If it's like an ARM processor, they could be going that path. But instead of ARM, it's going to be considered APU. Technically, it'll be like a, by the time it comes out, allegedly it's supposed to release in 2027. That's what they say. And if that's the case, it's going to be running on, say, Zen 6. If it runs on Zen 6, I mean on, Zen 6. So if it's running on Zen 6, maybe it's running, say, like on the Radeon A5, and then it would be running maybe at the maximum. It would have to be 6, yeah, it would have to be at least, altogether total, maybe 48 gigabytes I can see. I can see about 48 gigabytes at the most. So if you download the games on the consoles, if I buy a console, I just want to play the stupid game and throw it in the disc. Yes, don't download the game on the friggin' console. That's again pointless. At this point, they might as well not even have the disc in the box, which I'm sure it's happened before to people that purchase games where you open up the box and it's just a code. So you also can play offline. That's the biggest thing with physical media. Yes, that was the biggest selling point. Absolutely. So, and he says, Ultima had the coolest game boxes, trinkets, a cloth map, a tin figurine, and that's what we miss. That's the things that gamers certainly do appreciate. We do love that stuff. But now it's almost like straight business. Just give you the game and that's it. And when it comes to collector boxes, we barely see them anymore. I'd say, yeah, I mean, you look at Resident Evil, right? They came out with Resident Evil Requiem. They have their own collector's edition, right? But in the collector's edition, they give you these skins that you can put in the characters. That's great and all, but they don't really give you anything more physical, not anymore. But the only things that they do have are the Porsche that no one's going to buy. Most 98% of gamers out there aren't going to buy a Porsche Cayenne, and then you also have gamers out there that's not going to buy $3,000 or $4,000 watch. So they do have those accessories that you can purchase, but they're just marketing it in the opposite direction, so to say. So I remember when I got the game physical copy, and they wanted to have the special edition ones where they give you a little figurine of the game. Sometimes you could turn the packaging into like a castle. Yeah, and that, again, like all those types of features would be absolutely missed if physical media goes away. But I could see that in retrospect that they would end up slowly bringing it back if there is a demand for it, and hopefully there is. So if you want safe console-like hardware equivalent, maybe the Ryzen 7 8700G, yeah, pretty much, like kind of something like that. And you know the crazy thing is that they're not going to advertise it as, they're going to advertise it more. I could see it being like 2 or 3 times smaller than the physical Xbox Series X. And then they're going to also say that it's going to be about like 2 or 3 times more powerful. And then on the bottom, it's going to say with AMD FSR 4 or FSR 5 even. So console creators should take note on how much their old consoles in games will sell for people that don't want to deal with downloads. They just want to play the stupid game, and that's where the money would be. And how does everybody feel? I'm going to ask a poll out here because most people are probably going to be inclined to agree about this. Because as you know, and most console gamers know this, when you purchase a game on the console, it always is more expensive than a PC. Now, hence, we do have other areas, so to say, that we can purchase games, such as Loaded.com, and we have Green Man Gaming, and we have all these wonderful areas where, thank you for following, Shadow. We do have all these wonderful alternate websites where we can get a key for a much better deal than, say, on Steam. So, unfortunately, when it comes to consoles, they have that option, but it's not as widely available. In fact, it's more expensive to end up buying games for consoles because of it. So my question here, which I will certainly ask out there, And because I'm curious to see what the take is for many people out there to respond to this. Do you feel that digital media, digital games, I should say, should be more cost effective? Should they be cheaper? So feel free to answer. Do you feel that they should be cheaper? They're not printing any paper. They're not wasting any physical media. There's not really any true extra cost. Some people might argue that there's more of a larger budget now for these studios. What do you guys? Oh, Mr. Rainbow's back. Welcome back. Awesome. That's awesome. I'm glad that you made it through the month. That was fast, right? Time goes by quick. Yeah, so we have many people, I bet, that agree with this. Yes, it should be, right? It should be absolutely cheaper. It doesn't make sense. There's not anything out there that you're physically holding. You're not holding printed paper. Obviously, that costs money. A custom case. You're not paying for instruction manuals anymore. There's nothing in there. But instead, you can now download it directly, which is instantaneous. So, can you review? Yeah, sure. Send it through. If you're going to send your PC parts picker list, make sure to send it through Discord or Twitch. Now, YouTube does not allow links. So if you choose to do that, make sure to go onto either side. So the S26 is already emulating original Xbox. Yeah, that's pretty wild. I've read that the other day. Has anybody experienced it so far? Has anyone actually emulated Xbox games? There's a lot of dope games that I do miss playing on the original Xbox. Like, you know, I was a big fighter. Like, I was into fighting games when I was on Xbox, especially Dead or Alive 3. I was a big fan of it. One of those underrated fighting series, I feel. How is it? Z-Man, glad to see you here. See, many people do agree with this. While I agree digital games should be cheaper, retail stores will complain about yes, and that's another downfall. That's a real negative for, say, GameStop or any other physical store that is located in your country. Now, indie games are fair, but $70 mainstream games are just overpriced. Can I just send the code at the end of the link? Just send it. Now, you can send it, once again, you can send it through Discord or you can send it through Twitch. You can send the whole link. It's just a bit easier. I want to make sure that we open it up correctly here. So, isn't it cheaper? Steam, Green Man, yes, absolutely. It is cheaper. And that's the thing. Usually we have to spend a ton. Oh, a wonderful drink. Thank you. I could definitely use a refresher. Yeah, yes, digital games should have always been cheaper, and absolutely, that's what they've been absolutely trying to sell us. Some fresh lemonade. Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Yes. Oh, really? You know, I wish I never sold my Xbox 360. That is one of the things I do miss. I do miss Xbox 360. It was amazing. Didn't you like, out of everybody that had Xbox 360, I know many of you probably did. Didn't you like the old Blade profile that they used to have? Like where it was just like, where it would swipe on the home screen? That was legendary. There was nothing like it. Yes, but the finished Waffle Skater consoles back then, behold, it was cheaper than a physical copy. I think they pushed digital games on consoles because you can't. Yeah, that is true. That is a big factor. What Waffle Skater says, he speaks the truth. I never completed Buffy. Yeah, the Buffy the Vampire Slayer. You know what the crazy part is? I gotta play it again. I gotta play that game. The most powerful console I've ever emulated is Xbox 360. I really wanted to play Armored Core for answer. How did it work out? Did it work out well? You can say I'm into fighting on my PS5. Prefer playing fighting games on my console, but play. That's awesome. What type of fighting games do you like to play, by the way? One of the biggest fighting. I would love for everyone to guess what is one of my top favorite fighting games. And I grew up with this fighting game. That's actually what inspired me into like getting into fighting games and into even like things like martial arts and everything. But unfortunately, because my Xbox 360 still rocks. Absolutely. I still play good. You know, I miss the LAN parties. That is absolutely one of the things I miss doing with my friends. But the LAN parties, I think I was doing that more on the original Xbox. Yeah, it was the original. Because we would play like games like Splinter Cell, Pandora's Tomorrow. It was it not Pandora's. What was it? Splinter Cell. It was the second one. I think it was Pandora's Tomorrow, right? Where it was where you got to play as the mercenaries and the spies. That was dope. Thank you for following Pep Gaming 14. I don't know if anyone else noticed, but every time hardware unbox benchmarks at XMP DDR4, they use Gear 2 mode and they ignore it. Yeah, you know, I haven't really got to watch too much of his testing, so I can't say for sure. I didn't have the Xbox 360 back in the Blade days. My first oh, yeah. You know what's crazy? Remember how that used to be a ton? 120 gigabytes used to be amazing on Xbox. So emulation is crazy now. I have every N60 and N64. Good guess, Double Dragon. Not Double Dragon though. It's I'll give you a hint. It comes from originally they used to this might be too easy of a hint. They used to be with Midway. They went with Midway before. So we can run steps faster now, but honestly, the games were better back during, you know, there was a lot more original games. Now we kind of get to the point where it's like rinse and repeat. I mean, now we got Metal Gear Snake Eater remake, and now we're just getting remakes of everything. Silent Hill. Now, I love the games, don't get it twisted, but where's the originality? Where, just like how we got Crimson Desert coming out. That's going to be interesting. I think that's going to be a great game that's coming. So, Z-Man says, PS3 is only TV console I play. Some fat boy revision still alive and kicking close to 100 games. Okay, in case you didn't see, here's, okay, perfect. I got the list. Oh, thank you. And I got your list. I'm about to open it up here. It copied the whole chat instead. My fault. Here we go. Perfect. Now we can take a look at it together and we can talk about your build. So, Annie says, PS, yes, Pep, so I got your list. I'm just going to read off some comments real quick before we get through your list here. I do like the new Resident Evil 9. I agree. It's amazing. I mean, you saw how we can run up to even 124 frames on a ASUS ROG Ally. Talk about optimization. Now you can even max it out with full out path tracing and it looks beautiful. Or you can even just run it on the bare minimum. So I do love those options. Yep, the old Xbox was crazy. Agreed. Contra. Not Contra. Not Contra. I downloaded Black Ops 2 and all of the DLC on PS3 last year. It was 12 gigabytes for all of it. Ever since I discovered the compilation files, I've touched emulation anymore. It's fun to run things like Spaghetti Kart. Yeah, that, you know, there's some really amazing games out there. You ever seen the like a Super Smash Brothers version, but it's every single fighter, I mean everybody, like into one game? I think that was dope. Crimson should be great. Wonder if it's overhyped. I hope not. I really hope not. I'm hoping it's going to be just as good as they mentioned. Micro Center now only includes a white RAM with the top. Honestly, I'd rather take white RAM anyway, as long as if I can get it for a deal. It is a bit depressing. It may look like as our one of our friends, Ricardo, when he went to Micro Center, so-called zebra build, because it's going to be black and white. So now a lot of people may be going through that now. So the original Xbox was Dreamcast too. They basically set up Sega with Windows CE. You know, funny that you mentioned that. I almost forgot all about how they were working on that whole premise. So I see no storage price for the SSD. Scared to ask how much you paid for 2 terabytes. Yeah, we're gonna find out. FPS or graphics in games for you? For me personally, I would go for, now this all depends. Personally for me, frames matters, especially if you're into a more competitive, say, FPS game, like such as like shooters. Now, where it doesn't matter as much is when it's more like like more story games. Story games, when it matters much, then that's more type of glamour. That's the only time that matters. Now, we're going to go take a look at this list here. So, Pep Gaming 14. Tell me what you think of his list here as we're going to go through it. So, it's AMD Ryzen 7 7800X 3D. Good choice. Cooler Master Hyper 212. That is also a great budget choice. It looks like you purchased it. Great. MSI Pro B650S. So I'm assuming that's the Micro Center bundle. That's what it looks like so far. The Crucial Overclocking 32. Definitely towards that Micro Center bundle, but you swapped out the memory. I'm curious, are you getting it through Micro Center? Because I'm just out of curiosity, do they allow you to swap it out for lower latency RAM? And now we got the Crucial P310 with the Cronus 2 terabytes. You purchased it, but that probably was pretty expensive. Even though it's a P310, SSDs are really expensive. They're charging about $200 per terabyte, and I'm not kidding. So if you get 2 terabytes, it's average at $400 right now. And that, again, it doesn't matter if it's PCI Express 4 or PCI Express 5. Believe it or not, the difference between them is about $20 to $40. That's it. So, and even though that sounds minimal, it sounds like we're counting like a much more lower currency at this point. So Gigabyte Gaming OC RX 9060 XT 16 gigabytes, pretty decent. That is a decent choice. Now, the power supply, I gotta say, Roswell, Rosewell, or however you call this brand, Rosewell. I know they're like they're a bit tricky here. Fantex, I agree. I love the case. Rosewell, honestly, I would go for another power supply. Go with something a bit more secure. You want to get something that is more ATX 3.1 as of now, just in case if you want to choose to upgrade in the future. That's what I would highly suggest. Just swap out the power supply. Everything else looks decent. But let me know what the type of game you got. It for $215. That's a steal. That's actually a great deal. Can't see the power supply with the pitch. Oh, I apologize, guys. Power supply is right here. The power supply is the Rosewell VMG 850 watts. Now, I haven't had a ton of experience with Rosewell. They've been around for a while. I can certainly say that. They have been around for a while. But I highly suggest going for something with, say, Corsair. They're not too expensive, and they have great PSUs, and the warranties are up to 10 years. I would say go for something like that. That's 850 watts, ATX 3.1. And you don't have to, it won't be as expensive either. You might spend maybe an extra 20 or 30 bucks, but that's it. But that's actually pretty good, considering how cheap all of this is put together. I know it's not including some of the prices, but the Cooler Masters actually you could get for a pretty decent deal. Cooler Masters you can get roughly about like 35, 40 bucks. MSI Pro B650S, that depends. So Pep Gaming, I got the SSD. Let me see. Okay. The 7800 X3D is killing me. I see. So you had to choose between the processor and the GPU. Of course, GPU is always the preference. There's always going to be the bottleneck from the CPU side, which is exactly what you would want. So I really didn't want to make the price go up too much. So I went with the budget. I see. Don't go too cheap on a PSU. Everybody that builds a PC will tell you this, because the last thing you want to go is your PSU, because then you're going to be pretty pissed off once your PC does not turn on, or if it shuts off mid-game, all because of power supply. So that is one of those items that is, I'd say, underrated when you are going out for purchase, to spend just a little bit more. It will save you the heartache that you will certainly go through if your power supply goes. So yes, NYC will tell you. Everyone, I've had experience where the PSU blew out multiple times, so you don't want to go through that. The Rosewell R379M, if you want to. Okay, we can take a look at that. I got it for $30 and the motherboard for $130. So how much is the 12900K bundle? I don't even know if they have it anymore. We'll take a look at it. We'll take a look at Micro Center and take a look at their bundle here. Let's take a look. So everybody that's just coming in, hopefully you are enjoying the stream. If you are, make sure to follow or to subscribe, and also make sure to hit that like button. Certainly do appreciate it. So we're going to take a look at the AMD bundle here, and also join in our members roundtable. So NVIDIA GeForce RTX 5060. Oh, what about it? Yes, Tony is correct. Yeah, you'll always need that power supply. What I recommend is, instead of putting your prices to 0, change it to whatever you paid for. Gives us a better, yes, that would make more sense. What is your budget up to? I have an RM850X Gold Plus from Corsair. There you go. See, that's, again, how reliable is that thing? Like, I've had Corsair for plenty of PCs and they've never failed. Get a decent quality PSU. You will be certainly grateful for how long it will last you. You will, yeah. Imagine you spend $90 on a PSU just because you don't want to spend an extra, say, $30. And now in the end, you're going to spend another $130. So really, how much are you truly spending? So that's where you want to really consider. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm in AMD builds. Let's look at Intel builds. So we're going to look for the 12900K, see if it's available, if they have a kit available. I can't wait to see Micro Center's deal once they get the 250K and 270K out and rolling here. So let's take a look here. We're going to take 12900K. So this is the deal for anyone that is interested in it. So I'll shut this off. I'll shut the poll off. As 100% people do agree, games should be cheaper, which that is 100% hard to argue. So 12900K is certainly $549.99. Now it does come with the ASUS Z790 Max Gaming Wi-Fi 7, and it comes with Crucial's Pro 32GB CDR5, which is probably going to be at CL36. Typically, that's what it is. No, CL32, impressive. So it's actually CL32. So for this kit, that's actually really good for anybody that's looking for i9 power into a PC. And people who say that you can't build a creator's build or some sort of graphic design build at today's prices, you certainly could. Of course, you just have to shop smart. I would highly suggest for anyone who lives at a Micro Center, bundle. It's cheaper. It's much cheaper to bundle everything together. Even if you have a motherboard, if you have RAM, whatever, just get the kit. It's cheaper. It'll save you money, actually. So, what's up, Nano? Nana, maybe a bit less. Too far for me. The Corsair HX series was superior model for the multi-rail safety. Yeah, agreed. So I swim every day, so I can't go far. Oh, you got the, yes, the RM. Yeah, I'm speaking too quick there. The Intel bundle is a pretty good price. RIP my prices, because I don't. It's okay. We can take a look at Newegg, and we'll take a look at some parts. Newegg is actually great for finding some things here. Actually, you know, it's funny. I know some people are going to be like, "Hey, why are you mentioning that PSU?" Actually, it's actually a really good deal if we get it. And I'll show you exactly which one. It'll actually probably pop up once we go to power supplies here, which is going to be the MSI AEG. Yeah, I knew that was going to come up. The MPG, I'm sorry. The MSI MPG right here, 850. That's actually a decent power supply, even though all the controversy you hear, you're spending the same amount on this as your Rosewell power supply. So actually, this one would actually be a better deal to get. They say if you buy 2 or more eligible models, you can receive a free gift card. Obviously, not everyone's going to need 2 power supplies, but if you do, there you go. There's a deal for you. Newegg and Amazon have clutch. MSI, I agree. MSI is a great brand. Obviously, they had quite a bit of controversy that's undergone with the whole power supply situation with the burning 12-volt high power ports. But again, it's a very small case. I was running Resident Evil perfectly fine on my PC. No issues. As you guys saw, running at 600 watts consistently for several hours and no issues. So, again, MSI is perfectly okay. Not everybody is going to run into the same issues. So, I wish Micro Center guy who helped me had that. I had already had the RAM, but probably would have saved money by him saying if I bought the bundle, it would be cheaper than buying the CPU. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, but yeah, that's terrible. I'm sorry that you had to go through that. You're basically getting the processor and the motherboard for two. Yes, that's exactly why you're having it as a backup. So people who already own one, just keep it as a backup. It doesn't hurt. I love having more extra motherboards if I can. ASRock PSU 1600 watts is on Amazon for 230, and it's mid-level. Is it worth it, or is it ASRock trash? Now, when it comes to the power supplies, to be honest, I haven't had a ton of experience on the power supplies. More than likely, it's going to be decent. If you're going to get it, make sure to check out the warranty on it. That's the most important part. If it's a decent power supply, they should have a decent warranty. Most power supplies today, like we'll click this one, for example, should have the minimum 10-year warranty. Actually, it's right there. 10-year warranty. That is the minimum. If ASRock has that 10-year warranty, you're pretty much good to go there. So, just build a ROG Crosshair X870E Hero 99. Oh yeah, I'm sure he would love to, but not everyone has the budget to get the X870E Hero, unfortunately. But if you do, I highly recommend it. It's the same motherboard I use, actually. So what's the difference between gaming PC to live stream and video editing and YouTube live stream? So the biggest difference between the two, if you are getting a streaming PC and a gaming PC, you want to have a stronger processor in your streaming PC because that matters most. You need processing power. When it comes to your gaming, you want to have the stronger GPU. So those are the biggest differences there. Now, I can get into detail if you like, if that is what you're thinking of doing. If you want to have a streaming build and you want to have a PC build, let me know and we will get into that. So that was really good for 32 gigabytes of DDR5. Yeah, for RMA. I trust Corsair, Seasonic, and ASUS. I used to like Antec, but I don't think they're believe it or not, they're around. And the reason why I know that is because at Noctua's table, this was in 25. Noctua's table, they actually had a bunch of products that they were doing with the Antec together. And that was a PC case, the Noctua case, and they also had the Noctua power supply. But of course, that Noctua power supply is not cheap. That's like a $400 or $500 power supply there. So, hi, I have a RX 9060 XT and a 7600 X3D, and I have 850 watts. V100R case, UX200. Is it good? I mean, it's a decent case. Yes. Yes, absolutely. Your video on the here helped me a lot. Oh, thank you for watching it. I'm glad that it helped you out there. So, does the 9060 in my list need a seg bracket? Excuse me. It does not technically need a sag bracket. It'll be much larger than you expect. I can tell you that. Many of these GPUs are. I mean, hell, even this 3080 Ti is larger than most. But I might consider a MSI board, but always go ASUS. Yeah, I could see there's definitely the options there depending on what you're looking for. Of course, MSI has come out with fire motherboards. Take a look at this thing. MSI came out with this MSI X870E Carbon. And anybody that has this can certainly tell you this. It's not expensive. It's only $409, and this is on Newegg. So again, this is on Newegg. Just imagine if you had a Micro Center close to you, you could get it for another deal. But check it out, $409.99. And more than likely, you can probably get it with something else. Usually Newegg likes to bundle things for free. So for example, if you get this, you can get the 3D Mark actually for free. So you can actually run your own benches if you like, if you get this motherboard. So it's a great option for anybody out there. But if you're looking for something a bit closer to say like around this budget, that's ASUS. I highly recommend the ASUS eGaming motherboard, which is a great choice for everybody out there. Again, a word of caution for everybody out there that is looking to get an X870E. It doesn't matter what type of motherboard you get, just update the BIOS. I highly recommend to do that. Oh, look, they have the Hatsune Miku edition for $570. Oh, let me see. The ASUS ROG, where is it? X870E Creator. It is missing. Here it is. You get Resident Evil for it. So you get this plus Resident Evil Requiem for free. So that's a good deal. Plus, you get it for $450. So you spend just about like roughly about $50 more. But those are definitely the options I would highly recommend if anyone is looking for a ASUS motherboard or a MSI choice. Those are the two I would recommend. So, built an X870E system 2 months ago. Keep checking the prices weekly of the same kits. It's 1,000 more. Yes, they are expensive. I agree. Only thing with AMD is them supporting newer FSR and older cards. I agree. And you know what's funny? I don't know if you guys heard this joke, but if you have an AMD card that's like 7000 series, they say like once what is it? A Fastone, once they release their FSR 4 in their frame generation, it's like considered outdated by AMD if it's past a year. So that's the big joke. Like they always say, like, oh, now you had to have AMD's GPU, it's now officially outdated because they don't ever talk about it. That the thing is, that's not always the case with them. They're just not great at communication. They need to communicate more with the public. I feel that's highly important, especially if you're coming out with releases and multi-frame gen that people are looking for, or FS, and the different features that AMD does have that people can certainly take advantage for. But they need to start just surprising people with these updates, even on the 6000 or 7000 series GPUs. So I like ASRock motherboards with Intel CPUs. A lot of people do. I'm excited to do this ASRock build. Hopefully you guys got to check out that motherboard video. I've seen people are just like already trying to throw shade at it already, saying it's going to catch fire and that the processor is not going to last. But we'll see. We'll see once we put it together. So my my Miku board too. Yes, $579 for it. Let me see it. It makes me curious. This is the H Gaming. This is what you're paying for. This is what you're solely paying for is Miku. But those colors are sick. The reason why I like those colors, it really vibes with this channel too. And it's also, it kind of gives me the whole Miami type of vibes here. So, making me question my Z890 purchase. The Z890 is a great motherboard. I'm saying the Z890 is great. Currently we have the Aorus Master. Certainly love it. Gigabyte actually dropped some new motherboards. In fact, if you guys got to check it out, they have a new refresh version of the Z890 for those looking that are trying to go for 250K or 270K. Seems like the Intel boards are cheaper and they have more options. You know, the thing is, it's almost like there's more. I agree with that. It's like there's almost more choices and flexibility. For some reason, Intel has this hold on the PC industry where they have these flexible options. It's not like AMD. AMD feels like a bit more rigid. When you end up selecting their platform, they have options, but it's more rigid compared to Intel, where even though they don't have that higher market share like AMD does, they still manage to have this, again, grasp of the flexibility of the different choices that you can pick. So ASUS and ASRock had problems with AMD 9000 series CPUs, but I like how people will throw ASRock under the bus and don't say anything about ASUS. That's the typical industry because, you know what it's kind of like? You pay more money. And it's like that placebo effect when it comes to spending money. So it's like, just because you spend more money on it, it's the better product. But of course, anybody out there can certainly speak that that's not always the case. It's not always the better product because you're spending more money. In fact, there's plenty of other products out there that you spend a ton of money and it doesn't work that great. It's the same when it comes to the PC world. Everything is just as sensitive. Really, I would say, I have to say, a lot of it goes towards more of the whole BIOS coding when it comes to the processor for AMD. Now, it's affected not just ASUS and ASRock, but it also has affected MSI and affected maybe like probably a couple gigabyte boards, but it has happened. So it's more the microcode when it comes to the BIOS side that they're trying to perfect. They just unleashed a monster so quick that they just didn't expect this to quite happen, for the sensitivity to be like this. So I sold my PC before the RAM stock thing. Now I'm at regret. At least I stole my. Oh yeah, you did. What's the specifications? So ASRock fixed their issue with the latest BIOS update. It wasn't a voltage issue, but the total power when boost. Oh, so that was the case. So it was the total power boosting. So it's when it's under load. That's interesting. So AMD Ryzen 9 9000 series. Can you look up the Z890? Sure, let's look it up. The Z890 e-gaming, right? That's what I'm assuming that you're interested in. So, hey there, I am planning on buying a PC, and I'm wondering if Best Buy Total membership for repairs and refunds is a good deal. Honestly, you could just go on Newegg and get everything. It's Best Buy. It's like they're like a year behind when it comes to things. I hate to say it, but they are. They need to really catch up. They need to step up their game, especially that they don't even have physical media anymore. Look how much cheaper that is. A Z890 LGA 1851 ATX. Let's make sure it's from Newegg too, because a lot of these, they could not be from Newegg. Okay, so this one's certainly from Newegg. They have an open box one that's only $240, which is a great deal for anybody that's trying to save a bit of money. Yeah, people that only buy NVIDIA will call out. Yes, pretty much. Exactly. It's the whole idea of you spend more money that the product gets better. But again, that's not always the case. It's not always factual. And then people get stunned when something comes from, say, the same factory. It's pretty much the same case. Like when it comes to memory, for example, you compare one memory company to the other. Technically, they're still under the same chip company. For example, they like Corsair and G-Skill, like they would use SK Hynix. They use their chips for their memory. So again, it's not different. It's just different brands. It's just preference. But overall, people will pick on each brand, like saying Corsair is better. No, G-Skill is better. It's kind of the same case. So ASUS ROG Strix Z890 is $393.73. Actually, a great deal. Again, this also comes with that 3D Mark Consumer Edition, so you could really do some benching if you'd like. So a 7M 2 spots, Gen 5 spots, you'd have to be... Absolutely. You know how expensive it is to fill this up. You know what's really dope about these boards is if you take a close look here, you see this side here. Let me go right there. So if you take a look here, they have like these quick release latches. That's an M.2 heat pipe actually. So that's actually a 3D heat pipe that they actually have, which is actually fully functional. So it actually keeps the memory cooler. And then on top of it, it has another heatsink like right under it, which is pretty dope, right? So you got two locations where you can fill it. And it's, again, under $400. So I sit here on my RTX Pro 6000 waiting. You know, it's funny. I think Markiplier, he was gaming on Resident Evil with 192 gigabytes of RAM. And he has an RTX Pro 6000 as well, gaming. So it just, which is absolutely insane overkill for a PC. So I got 14 terabytes of Gen 5 in mine. It was expensive, but not as expensive as now. I bet. These motherboard overloads and see, the problem is what they don't tell you. So if anyone's just building a PC, one of the things that they certainly don't tell you is that when you take a look at the M.2's availability, there's a ton, right? You see 1, 2, I see 1, 2, 3, 4. I think there's even there's 5. So you have 5 M.2 slots. They're not all going to be completely used up. Even if you did, say if you did fill them all up, you're going to end up crippling your motherboard. And what do I mean by crippling your motherboard? Because your PCI Express lanes will reduce. So you won't get the full, say, X16 lane that you're looking for when it comes to your graphical card, when it comes to your graphics card. So if you have, say, an NVIDIA RTX 5070, you're going to end up, I don't know why you would have 5070 if you got 5 NVMEs. You can definitely get a 5090. But if you got, say, a 5070, you'll still cripple it because it's going to go X8. And the same when it comes to your other components. Like you'll end up crippling your other PCI Express 5. Say if they're all PCI Express 5 M.2 drives, you'll end up crippling the speed out of one of them. So you have to be really careful in what you use and see what lane is being occupied. And a lot of times that'll be explained when you take a look into the manual, and it'll let you know which lanes to occupy. For example, I know for the e-gaming such as this, if you occupy 2 and 3, that will actually break down the speed for PCI Express, your PCI Express 5x16 lane. So is the Z890E gaming better than the Maximus Z890 Hero? Sorry for the new question. So to say they're both about like, they both have their advantages and disadvantages. Now, I can say when it comes to the sound driver, it's a bit better. Like on the e-gaming. Now, Hero is supposed to be the better version. It's supposed to be more of the overclocker's choice. The more pro gamer, so to say. That is headed for more of the Hero side. Now, when it comes to e-gaming, it's also great for gaming and great for overclocking as well. It's just, you have little different things about it. Like for example, you might have, this has nitro path tracing. The other one has nitro path tracing. Like for example, there's like a few more headers on the Hero, like when it comes to the fan headers. There's also more options when it comes to, say, if you want to use like the quick releases, they also have more options for that. There is also a more upgraded Ethernet port when it comes to using the Hero. So just little tiny bits of upgrades on the Hero versus the e-gaming. But if you're just using it for gaming, many people would be plenty happy with the e-gaming motherboard. So back when I had the 10, so I meant to say 4 terabyte Gen 5 cost me $500. I think they're 7 to 8. Yeah, they're expensive now. It's insanely expensive how it is. Like we could actually look one up and you can see how expensive it could get. Back then when the 1080 Ti SLI build, I ensured that the Intel i9-9960X with 44, yeah, that's insane. Can you imagine when if Intel comes out with Nova Lake and has 52 cores and 52 threads, that's going to be an absolute beast. You're going to have a ton of lane usage. Just imagine the power of it. It's going to be like a workstation, but without without the HEDT, without being truly a high-end desktop. With 8 lanes, you can have 4 lanes of memory, but it can perform the power if you want as for using it for graphic design or using it for content creation. You have those options if you did have that type of processor that ends up releasing. So Nova Lake, I am excited to see what they do offer and how it's going to come out, especially that there's no hyper-threading, which nobody likes to use anyway. So it's not just lanes, it's the actual PCI Express slots not being on the board, and you can buy M.2 PCI Express. You can, but the thing is, there is limits. There's limits to everything depending on the type of processor that you use. It all boils down to the type of CPU that you use. So you always want to check the chipset diagram when it comes to it. So I wanted the Hero because of the screen, but it's just too much. Yeah, so you'll pay a bit more for the features. Like if we take a look at the Hero here, immediately, it is nice though. That Hero is sick. So if you take a look at the back of it here, you have dual gigabit, you have dual Ethernet connections versus one where you have the e-gaming where it's only going to be a single one, which I'll show you right here. So if you look in the e-gaming side, they also, let's go to the back here, right there. It's just a single 5 gigabit connection, but many people would be happy with this as it is. Again, the Hero would be great if you're using it for some sort of networking. Like if you want to use your PC, say for like, you have like a mini NAS system inside of your PC. That's great to have dual Ethernet ports for something like that. But not everybody's going to need that feature. Now, again, there's like little changes, things like that, that would be missing out of the e-gaming versus the Hero. So I think you already know, but I have that exact board that you're showing and I love it. It is awesome. I actually got it for it cheaper than that they're showing it right now. That's awesome that you did. I'm glad you did. Especially if you can get a great deal for it, get your hands on something like this. Especially, uh, let me see. The Hero is typically usually like a $700 board. Now the Hero, you can actually get it for, let me see. I just saw it too. 400, and that's actually really cheap actually for a Hero. 410 bucks. Again, you can get Resident Evil Requiem with it. That's insane. That's actually insane. That's actually cheaper because usually that's the more high-end board. So if you had to pick between, because it's cheaper, just get the Hero then. Why not? So wish the Hero had a line in, and that's the problem. They started change. You know what the funny thing is, based is that they started changing out the audio in the boards because they felt people don't really truly use them anymore. Because most people, let's face it, a lot of people like to use headsets. They like to use Bluetooth. They don't like plugging in things manually anymore. It's not like how it was back then, where everyone had to have a 5.1 surround sound hooked up to their PC. Everybody now prefers more to just wear something like this, just wear the headset and pretty much go. And yes, I still definitely game wired because, again, preference of choice. But many people out there don't really go wired. They're going to end up going with a Bluetooth headset or some RF adapter. So, speaking of which, let's go back out and check out Micro Center real quick, as we haven't did the update. My Sennheiser RF. Yes, it's funny that you say that, Bob, because it's exactly how I have it set up. I actually have it set up to a Mixamp Pro. So you probably have it kind of similar to that. I actually thought about swapping it out to a Creative Labs type of Mixamp Pro. That's what I thought about changing. Not Mixamp Pro. What's it called? Amp. Really wanted to change it out to that type of amp because I like the crossover with the voice and gaming. I love that, having that type of option. So I have an AJBL party box. Oh yeah. Oh, that's funny. That's dope though that you do. I don't have DAC. It just, oh, okay. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. That's pretty dope. It goes straight into optical port. So for me, I do it everything through, I have it as pretty much as DAC. So it goes through a 3.5 millimeter connection directly. Then it converts the sound over to optical. So that's what I have on this specific setup. So let's take a look at the memory, just to update everybody how it's looking right now. So on the memory side, if anybody is curious, again, I highly recommend people to, if anyone is thinking of purchasing memory, just go ahead and make a purchase of the kit. It's going to save you much more money. It's going to be cheaper if you purchase the kit because you're going to spend quite a bit of money on just the RAM itself. Now, the good thing is RAM has been holding pretty stagnant. Now, for 6,000 megahertz for CL30, you're only going to spend $400. Only going to spend, right? Isn't that crazy? If I would have said this a year ago to myself, I'd be like, what are you, crazy? Spending $400 for 6,000 megahertz of RAM? $400 is absolutely insane when you think about it like that. But anyway, this is $400. It's been holding steady. Originally, it was CL36 for about $430. So it's kind of reverted back down slightly. I like how they kind of highlighted the red here, made it seem like it was worth more than what it was, which is $599.99, and put a red strike over it, just like if it did something, because it truly did not do anything. Because if it ever hit that price point, I'd probably throw up. So it's bad as it is. So Corsair's Vengeance 64 gigabytes has now reduced down to $1,000 as it is. Hold on. Imagine saying you had to spend... I know. Isn't that crazy? Imagine you got to say you're spending $300 on some DDR4 RAM. I do not want to spend that. Technically, I have a DDR4 platform that I use right now. If you guys don't know, I use a Threadripper system. Now, it's not a new one. It's a pretty old one now. It's the 3970X, and it requires DDR4. I am refusing. I will not spend any more money on DDR4 RAM, especially if it's going to be priced $300. That is absolutely insane. So the Corsair Vengeance RGB 64 gigabytes, 6,000 megahertz CL30 has now reduced down to 1,000. The cheapest that we've ever seen it was I think it was in, I would say, early February, maybe in late January, I would say. We've seen it as low as $869, but now it's reduced down to $999.99, which is a good sign because this is one of the more demanding RAM kits that is out there for most people to purchase. Now, for the G-Skill Trident, again, we discussed about pricing, and when it comes to brands, this is the perfect example. Now, the Royal Neo RGB series, which is, again, CL28, which is very fast latency, is now $519. Now, I wouldn't say getting just CL, just downgrading just two two latencies, or CL2 or whatever. My voice is getting all messed up. But anyway, it's not going to be worth spending an extra $120 for an extra CL2, I should say. So in total, it's not worth it. Now the Crucial 64 gigabytes, 6000 CL40. Again, you're paying for the color because it's $700 if you want this kit, which does not make any sense. So it's funny that you come in right when I start talking about RAM too. $400 for I know, right? It sounds like insanity at this point. So, Crucial's Pro 32 gigabytes, 6400 megahertz CL38 is now $340. Just go CL32 because you can spend roughly about $360 it is for CL32. It would just be worth spending an extra $20 or $30 for that. So right now they're plateaued. So that's a good thing. Let's hope they continue to be plateaued. But the rumor is that they're actually going to end up being priced up like another 20 to 30% within the next month. Hopefully that's not true. Hopefully that's complete BS. I got all my parts a month ago, and I've already saved nearly $1,000. And I thought it was expensive, then I saw what was coming. There you go. Again, he bought it back at Micro Center days. He only paid, how much was it? Like $96 or $97, and there was no taxes on it. And now it's worth $700. So just spend $400 for the CPU, $400 GPU, and $400. Yeah, yeah, exactly. You can't lose with the quadruple fours, right? $75 for plus $75 for 48. It doesn't make any sense. There's no real pricing sense to this at all. I hate Corsair's price gouging, but I love how the Corsair Titanium, I think a lot of people do. They love the look of it. A lot of people are kind of staying away from Crucial because of their whole abandoning the whole gamer side, but people are willing to take them back with open arms as long as if they end up pricing fairly. Like even this Z5 Neo RGB kit, which is CL30, is $510. Now that pricing absolutely makes no sense. At that point, you might as well just go Corsair because you're going to spend an extra $100 just because you want the G-Skill name, for example, which is, again, weird. It's really weird for G-Skill to cost more than Corsair. So Legendary says, my dad bought me a 256 gigabytes of DDR5 for Christmas. I felt what? Oh, I felt bad for taking it. Hey, it doesn't seem like, well, where's that kit now? Is it on your PC as it is? Oh man, so I paid $412 for my 32 gigabytes of 6000 CL28, and I paid $450 for my Gem 4 terabyte. SSDs are worst, to be honest. Yes, and that I haven't even showed it. I haven't even showed it. Let me block this and bot here. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to look at the SSDs because it's going to be rough. Exactly the problem. It's old. It's practically new old stock. That's exactly what it is. And wait till we check out the SSDs. I was not kidding about the prices. Last I checked, it was $200 per terabyte. Now we're gonna double check this because I remember the pricing is quite ugly. So it's been holding. This has been holding steadily at some of you are probably looking at this like, what the hell am I looking at now? I can't believe it's $400 for 2 terabytes. So Western Digital's 5 terabyte passports were $130. Oh, really? That's actually decent. Was it the SSD version or the hard drive version? So let's all get together and wear. They do have a store out in California there. So I'm selling my 32 gigabyte RAMs for 1,000. Uh, th- hey, there's a lot of people out there they're trying to sell their kits now. That I tell people all the time that who built their PCs back when the 30 series is still around and they haven't been updated with the pricing. I tell them, hey, take a look at your RAM now. It's worth so much more than it originally was. $156. Oh, it's a hard drive. Okay. That's actually not bad. That's not bad for a hard drive, actually. Now, some of you guys may have heard this brand. They've been slowly trying to push out here, which is called Clev. Clev seems to be quite an interesting brand here because Clev looks just like this, and it's only 150 bucks. Maybe sketchy because if you put your OS on here, you might lose everything. But honestly, I heard it's actually not as bad as it sounds. So what do people need to do to buy somewhere? Donate blood, plasma, kidney? You know, the funny thing is, it makes sense why I saw the Red Cross over in front of Micro Center. Because now they're trying to make money off of all the harvesting that they're doing because they're doing a pretty damn good job at it. So again, the SSDs, very expensive. Even the 9100 Pro 2 terabyte version, it's $420. But here's some, and if anyone's close to Miami here, if anyone's close to the Miami spot, I do have some good news. They do have a open box that I do see for roughly $356.96. It's crazy to see that's considered a good deal, but it is open box and it's only $356 compared to the $420. Again, it's a bloodbath if anyone wants SSDs. Even the Inland, which is Micro Center's brand here, is $160. So that's insane. So is it that good that I sniped a PC with 32 gigabytes of DDR5 Ryzen 7 7800X3D 9060 XT 16 gigabytes 1 terabyte? Almost sounds like somebody else's build actually a bit earlier. The rest for 1500. The GPU is weak for that CPU, but I play CPU heavy games. That's honestly not that bad. I mean, you can always upgrade the GPU. It's not that big of a deal. Never get. I had no idea that Inland has PSUs. That now you're gonna make me look them up. You're going to make me want to look up Inland PSUs now. Let's take a look here. We're gonna go to PC parts here, and we're gonna go check out power supplies, and we're gonna check out Inland PSUs. Because now you certainly piqued my curiosity here. Let's see, Inland. All power supplies will go. And let's see, Inland. I don't see any Inland ones here. Don't tell me they sold out of them. I see that they have all our typical brands. They have ASRock, they have ASUS. That'd be Quiet, Corsair, Leanly. Now these are all decent power supplies. Super Flower is actually not that bad. Now I know now a lot of people probably haven't heard of them, but they're a Taiwanese company that actually works with MSI on their PSUs. I actually learned about this not that long ago. Yeah, that's what I mean. I heard about it's actually pretty decent, right? Did you already get your opinion on the new Intel CPUs? I have a 9800 X3D build right now. I'm considering swapping for the increased cores. Oh, okay. So are you strictly going... So you have the option to swap out your CPU. You're thinking of going... The only thing that goes up from the 9800 X3D is the... not even the 9850 X3D because it doesn't have increased cores there. If you're looking for increased cores, you have to go either 9900X or even the 9950X 3D. Are you thinking? Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. It sounds like Pepper. That's exactly who I was thinking. I was thinking, oh no, don't tell me he sent it. He just bought his PC. Western Digital Black SN850X. I paid $292. Now $800 for the 4 terabyte. That's absolutely crazy. You know what's insane? The 990 Pro 2 terabyte was $120 at one point at the end of... Yeah, you know, check out even October of 2025. It was actually a great deal on Prime deals. It was actually 100 and Let me remember. 2 terabytes was 180 bucks. Yeah, 180, I think it was. It was even cheaper in 2023, in fact. So, and he says, I have a pair of SN850X drives. First one was a year ago for $200. Second one was early this year for $420, and then it went all the way to $720, and seems it has retreated. Yeah, that's absolutely crazy. Power spec. Oh, okay. But we don't see any power spec, unfortunately. Oh, yeah, there it is. Oh, okay, power spec. Thank you for letting me know. I had no idea. Man, they are incredibly cheap. Let's see. Let's click it. It's semi-modular, if anyone's curious. So semi-modular means that they do have modular ports, and it's weird. Their modular side is really weird because it's PCI. They have one port that's PCI Express, and the rest are peripherals. That is weird. That I would, if just seeing that makes me not want to buy it. Man, Western Digital was price gouging earlier. Yeah, remember, Western Digital now is going to go turn into SanDisk. So SanDisk is they're going up in price even. Let's take a look at their, let's see, I'm curious about their most expensive. Their most expensive version, which is this one, okay? Let's see. So this is also semi-modular still. And just to let you know, it is SLI compatible. Okay, and so it does feature 12-volt high-power port, PCI Express. It does have the SATA port. Okay, so it has some options here. Just looking at this, just looking at these ports is sketchy as hell. I am questionable about these ports. Can you imagine just solely relying on just these ports? I like how they highlight the 450 watts right next to it. If you take a look, right, right there. Trust your 59. Yeah, right. The 5090. Can you imagine that? It still has more options out there for those who want to use it. It's funny how they hide the other wires. Let's see. There it is. What's the other wires? Are they look like just they look like PCI Express ports. But where? No, they gotta. Okay, it has to have the ATX port. That's what's on there too. A CPU used to represent the main purchasing decision, and now suddenly it's one of the cheapest parts. Yeah, I know. Isn't that crazy? To think RAM was actually one of the best upgrades you could do when you end up purchasing a PC. Because when you or upgrading your PC, that's the thing everybody ends up upgrading first is RAM. Typically, that or storage. Those are the two options, and both of them are expensive. Gigabit. Oh man, the PCI Express port isn't even. Oh man, they only have those two pictures, guys. Let's see. Let's check out the decibel level. There's no LED lighting. They highlight that. There's 3 Molex connectors, and they also have, man, I haven't heard that in a while. 9 SATA connectors, and they also have 4x 6+2 pins and X12 plus 4 pin graphics connectors. Let's go into the details here. So the SKU, we're gonna check this out. It does contain a 135 millimeter fan. It is ATX, Crossfire, and SLI compatible. It does also is a gold certified PSU, and it does have a 5-year limited warranty. And somebody actually did buy it. Actually, let's take a look right down here. They just said worked, like they're shocked. Worked. I hope it better work. If you bought a PSU, it worked. But it's kind of weird how he puts real person and he puts it worked, it worked. And then Jart puts from Colorado here, says when in need, easy installation and covered what needed to be done. I want it fully modular, but this works well. Come on, man. For an extra 20 or 30 bucks, you can get a much better PSU. A reason why they are cheap, they have half of the lifespan of regular. Yes, and exactly the reason. And the average is 10 years. I would. I agree. I agree. I would rather have this than one from Alibaba. I do agree on that. You know damn well a Micro Center employee can't recommend. I know, I wouldn't. I absolutely would not. No, I always spend a lot on my PSU. I don't care how much the PC costs. I don't want it to. I mean, look at it. You go to power supplies here, right? And immediately you can get an MSI one, which is decent. Again, another one that gets thrown shade at is 120 bucks for 850 watts. Same exact thing, but it's fully modular. So you spend an extra 20 bucks to get a fully modular PSU, which has a 10-year warranty. So why not just go with that? Of course, if you go with, say, MSI's A1000G, this is one of their newer ones. This one's also a great option. Corsair has great choices. Superflower is actually decent. Again, you're not going to spend that much. Poisonous PSUs can kill everything. And a poisonous motherboard can kill a lot of things. So I only used here PSUs that are much more. Absolutely, yeah. And that's the smart thing. You do not want to spend less, especially if you want your system to run smooth. It's highly important to have a working PSU because you do not want to have any further damage. So imagine you bought a RTX 5090. You had the money. Would you truly risk your RTX 5090 to save 20 bucks? Because then that's what it's going to end up costing much more than $20 if it ends up burning out on you. This is factual. And the crazy part is, this is probably the truest thing in time. Because as long as I've been building PCs, and as long as everybody else who has the experience from understanding what it was like to build PCs, especially back then, that was always the cheapest component people would skip out on purchasing is the power supply. It's barely enough. It's enough, but it barely. It's like, it can run it, but I wouldn't suggest it. I would recommend the minimum of 1,000 watts. Reason being is because you do not want your PSU to short, especially if you end up adding extra accessories or extra parts to your PC. It's going to require more power. So it's 850 is enough, but it is the bare minimum. Just go 1,000 watts. It's not going to hurt. And I'll show you the price difference. The price difference from 850 watts to 1,000 watts is not going to be all that different. Now, this is specifically the A850 and the A1000G, but it's not going to be that much difference to spend a little extra money to get a bit more power. Yes, the power spikes. And that's another thing most people don't look at is whether if the PSU has multi-rail or single rail, depending on what you're using it for. So, I like that one, Epic, which is true. I thought PCs was the way to go. I'm like 10,000 in, and I still can't use it. Oh, really? What? So you still? Oh man, that sucks. That's frustrating as it is. Now, when it comes to again power supplies, for anyone that's more interested in more of like overclocking and wants more power, it's best to get more of a single rail system. Now you want something more stable and less risk, and then you can go multi-rail. But typically, I mostly suggest single rail for most people out there. Most people will be happy with that. So I paid less than $1,200. I mean, I paid less than that for 1,200 watts. Hey, if you can get a deal on it, get it. I'm sure there's better deals out there. This was just the first one that popped up, for example. Of course, it's hard to deny ASUS ROG Strix 1,200 watts. Get Resident Evil 265 bucks, right? Which is pretty pricey. Now the Corsair RM, this one's a bit higher, 136. Again, the MSI seems like the better deal so far. I saw Superflower. I think Superflower had a pretty decent deal on their power supply. So what kind of device would make the PC use too much power? Well, it just depends on what you have onto your system. most of the time it's going to come from your power supply. It's also going to be coming through the throughout your CPU, your motherboard. It's going to be all of those components really added up, but mostly it's going to pull from the GPU at the most. Secondary is more than likely going to end up as your CPU and your motherboard, and then everything else is going to become pretty much secondary. So MSI has come a long way, and I agree, MSI has done great. They actually became the name where you actually thought about purchasing a PSU. A lot of brands, like you think about like ASUS or even ASRock, or you think about like not MSI, but you think about all these other brands like Gigabyte. You don't really think of them too much for the power supply usage, but now you can actually consider a lot of them. So this Resident Evil giveaway is a joke. I got really? That's insane. You know, the funny thing is I have one free one, but the only thing is I'm unable to use it because I have to log into a Steam account. Unfortunately, I don't think anyone's willing to give out a Steam account just for me to log in to give them the Resident Evil. So they'll weather the shortage shock just fine. I guess I got a good deal because I paid $129. Yes, the Leon Lee. Yeah, I do remember that. The Leon Lee, that's what I'm going to actually end up getting. I love running a Threadripper 1200 watt. Yes. Yeah, only for $120.99. I heard horror stories of the new 16-pin connectors slipping out over time. And that's the thing. That's exact controversy I was talking about when it comes to MSI. And I was actually speaking on somebody on behalf of that, on their whole issue. And he actually said it wasn't just slipping out. He said it was actually the wire harness that was bad. So he's talked to MSI and hopefully has it resolved with, because apparently it's the whole wire harness. More than likely, you got to send back the whole PSU in order just to get it replaced. But Chris, what is the best PSU on Micro Center for overclock? Okay, so the best PSU you can get, I would say Seasonic. Seasonic is definitely one of the highest recommended ones I can highly suggest. Especially if you are looking for something like overclocking. Their cables are literally one of the best ones you can actually get when it comes to reliability, and when it comes to its how quiet it really is, and most importantly, it's very stable voltage wise. You want to avoid less voltage spikes. That was the whole reason the creation of ATX 3.1 is because of that, and the reason being is because the 12 volt high power port. They were afraid that there was not really even load balance on it. But Seasonic would be the way to go. And if you're looking for 1200 watts, let's see what they have to offer here. The 1200 watt one that they do have, they only show one, which is the GX 1200, a great choice. Usually they're platinum power supplies. This one's a gold one. Now, if you get the platinum one, of course, it doesn't really mean anything when it comes to power usage, but it means it does save you a bit more energy in case of it. Now, gold power supplies, they save you about 90% power efficiency compared to a platinum one, which is up to 95% efficiency. So, damn, I just bought my MSI PSU. Do I need to contact them? No. You don't have. It's not everyone that's been affected. Snecker, what's going on? Glad to see you. Welcome back. It's been a minute. Yes, I wouldn't contact MSI unless you're 100% certain that you're having a slippage issue. Like I said, I've been running my MSI PSU perfectly fine on a Gigabyte RTX 5090. No issues. Been running Resident Evil Requiem on pad tracing with several hours, and again, no issues. Hasn't pulled out, and it was running a constant 600 watts or over. So again, no issues. I haven't seen any problems. But again, if test it out, see how well it works, more than likely you're going to be good. It's not going to be everyone who is affected. It's going to be like a select group. It's just like anything else. Anything that you do purchase, of course, isn't going to be 100% guaranteed. Of course, everyone will run into some sort of issue with one type of supply. So Salve says, what adjustments should I make with my specs? You have a Prime B550M, a Wi-Fi, pretty okay dated system. So you use a primary, use the system for VR. So the only thing for you to truly upgrade next is going to be the motherboard. You have to upgrade the motherboard, and you also are going to have to upgrade the CPU, but only if you feel it's absolutely necessary. Now, you don't have to do it because you want to be up to date, especially with today's volatility when it comes to PC hardware. Now, if you are noticing some issues when it comes to VR in any specific games, what's holding you back is more than likely going to be your processor. You have to get a better processor, I would suggest. You can get a decent one. Again, if you're near a Micro Center, they do have the 7500 X3D kit you can purchase for $350. That's all you really need. You just transfer most of your items that you have already as it is, and you're going to be pretty much good to go. So it's like a $350 upgrade versus swapping out a whole GPU. So talking about PSUs, my PSU makes this noise all the time, like a ticking electrical noise. Most on load. So it sounds like that's probably the phases that it's going through. Gaming or downloading something, what could it be? Now that's more or likely the phases. Are you running on, I'm assuming, is it like a multi-rail system that you're on? Because sometimes it can do something like that. And that's a possibility if it is. Now, again, I wouldn't worry about it too much. I would check for voltage spikes if that's the case. You want to check, again, the phases when it comes to your PSU. And you can do that with hardware info 64. Check out the usage when you're downloading something and make sure to highlight any irregularities. You can create a log if you're not too sure what you're looking at, but look, you can, HW info will certainly let you know if something's out of whack. I'll highlight it pretty much red. And if it is, and more than likely that's where your problem is going to be from. So that's what I would check if that's the case. That's where I would look. So speaking of which, we're going to go back to Micro Center. We're going to double check the GPUs to pretty much as we're almost nearing the end, which is something we haven't checked yet. Now the GPUs. $3,700 for a RTX 5090 gaming overclock. RTX 5080, $1,500. RTX 5090 Master Ice, wow, $200 more. That's pretty crazy. But that has to be the Master. That makes more sense if it's the Master. Could you share that? Yeah, sure. I'll share it with you in general. Let me see. I'm going to open up Discord for you and I'll put it in general. Let's see. Let me see. I got you guys. So if you guys aren't part of Discord, make sure you've join in. Would certainly appreciate you guys. It's certainly free for anybody out there that is interested in checking out Discord. If you have any questions, you can feel free to show off your PC builds and I can show it on the channel. Or we can even go and do some interviews. So I'm going to share the link for anyone that is interested in the program. This does not only check power supplies, but this also checks your other hardware that is in your PC. Yes, I do. The Discord, it actually just passed. It's right above. You just click that link. Just click that link. Just join in. Just make sure to hit the rules side and click the green check mark, and you're in these servers. You'll be pretty much good to go if that's the case. But from what it's looking, the GPU side, GPUs are still pretty expensive. They have not really budged. They pretty much went up once, and that's pretty much it. Hasn't gone up significantly quite after. Of course, the average GPU for RTX 5070 Ti is between 900 to about 1100, I would say. The cheapest one you can get right now, they got the MSI Shadow for about $1,000, which is definitely a lot more expensive. I'm multitasking, watching you and Empower Power Gaming at the same time. Yeah, that's the best part of having multi-monitors there. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, thank you for checking in as always. But yeah, so if anybody wants Resident Evil, you can get it with a GPU. You can have another copy of Resident Evil. I'm going... I got you. I'm actually just about to finish up here, guys. I want to thank everybody who has joined into this wonderful stream. Hopefully you did enjoy it. Make sure if you did to give it a thumbs up, and make sure to join in, follow, subscribe. Make sure to become a wonderful member of the fan fam. Join in on our roundtable. If you are a member, please remind me in Discord, and I will let you join the members roundtable in Discord, where you can get to check out different previews, and also make sure to check out the merch shop, as it is in the YouTube shop, where you can simply check it out on you can check it out on chrismizo.com, as the merch is also up on there as well. So fandom guys, I thank you guys so much for coming in as always. Hopefully you enjoyed the stream, and I will catch everybody on Saturday, and have a great night, and hopefully you get to enjoy some gaming.